Bro, I was waiting so long to make this video, man. I really wanted to make this video for y'all. First off, I just want to say that if school is not a thing, man, I would be uploading all the time. My fault, my bad, yo. But let's get right into it, man. This James Harden saga stuff is gotten way out of hand, bro. Like, I haven't had time to make a video on it, but bro, stuff has been crazy. I know some stuff with Kawhi just went down, and there's stuff about James Harden being traded, and the Lakers just played their first preseason game, and the rookies are all showing out. Give me some time. Give me some time to get on that. My friend just hit my mic, but give me some time, y'all. Look, James Harden is a phenomenal scorer. He's a phenomenal player. He's an all-time great player. Let's get that straight before I get down to business. This video is not to slander James Harden. It's not to put his name down, because at the end of the day, whether or not if you enjoy the way or like the way he plays the game of basketball, it works to get some buckets and it gets his teams wins during the regular season. Whether or not he's that same player in the playoffs, you know, that's for y'all to decide. But either way, we already know all the talent's there, or the skill set is there. He's one of the most skilled players in the league, and that's just facts. Hey, y'all, turn on them post notifications, press that subscribe button, press that like button. You don't want to miss another Reese Hoops video, bro. That's just straight up. Let's get into it. Hey, yo, let's get it. Yo, it's Reese Hoops here, man. And y'all already heard the intro. Y'all already know what this video about. It's about James Harden, bro. You done read the title, so the thumbnail, bro. Let's get it. Look, James Harden, like all this James Harden saga with the Houston Rockets and all that stuff is all boiling down right in front of our faces, bro. You just turn on ESPN, you turn on First Take, Undisputed, whatever you want to check, whatever news source that you use for your sports, bro. You gonna see that there's James Harden stuff all over the place, man. And that's just how it is, you know. James Harden, he wants out of Houston, and when your star player who's been there for years wants out, and that fan base has gotten emotionally attached to James Harden, bro, that's going hit, man. And you know, the owner, the GM of the Houston Rockets, they have given James Harden offers, contract offers. They even got John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins, who have done they perform well so far together. They work together, and I feel like you giving them these moves, they're being consistent with not giving up James Harden so easily. They're saying, look, we got you John Wall, we got you DeMarcus Cousins. You know how to play off ball a little bit. The chemistry starts to build the team. Then you might change your mind, and that's really all that the GM and Houston management can hope for, is that, hey, James Harden does kind of like playing with John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins, and says, oh, I might want to stay a couple seasons. I might just change my mind. That's all they can really do, because as things is right now, he has no intentions. He said it publicly. He has no intentions to even be coming back to Houston. You feel me? One thing I want to talk about is the problem that James Harden has playing with other stars in the league. We've seen James Harden, every player James Harden has had on his team, other star, James Harden has chosen that player, bro. Like, it's not like Houston's just getting random stars and hoping that they fit with James Harden. They're getting players James Harden asked to play with. And before I get into Houston's relationship with James Harden and stuff, let's just look at the players that he has had on his roster. First off, Chris Paul, one of the best just straight up true point guards in the league. Bro, during his time playing with Chris Paul, his usage ratings were out the charts, bro. It was ridiculous. Like, the point guard usually has the ball in his hands the most, and at that point it was one of Chris Paul had one of the lowest usage ratings in the NBA, bro. And of course, it's because of James Harden's dominant ball play. It's the way he plays the game of basketball. He's just way too ball dominant. And so once him and Chris Paul started kind of clashing a little bit, it was because Chris Paul was like, bro, this dude does not share the ball, bro. And you can't do that with a true point guard like Chris Paul, man. And even then, even with all the chemistry issues, they still took the Golden State Warriors to 7 games, and because Chris Paul got injured, lots of people, you ask plenty of people who watched that series go down, they believe that if Chris Paul didn't get injured, they would have beat the Warriors and go on to face the Cavs in the finals that year. But James Harden, he just couldn't. It wasn't like Chris Paul was carrying James Harden. It was just, you have those two talents in the league, and they're still gonna function. Like, they're still gonna get you wins and buckets and points, but the chemistry off the court just wasn't how it should be, bro. Like, that's just straight up, bro. Look at the stats at that Game 7 that James Harden put up. Chris Paul was injured. It was James Harden's time to kind of step up as the main star in that. The main star, like, he was still better than Chris Paul. Don't get me wrong. He was still the number one guy on that team, especially considering his usage rating. Bro, I'm gonna put the stats up on the screen for y'all that James Harden put up in that Game 7, bro. It just shouldn't have happened. They should have still at least been in that boat. This man choked so hard, bro. Like, that's what got him, and he played no defense that whole entire game. That's what got James Harden this notion that he's a playoff choker that plays no defense and is just a scorer. That series right there dictated the way James Harden would be judged just basically the rest of his career from that point on, because that was his one chance to actually make it to the finals. Second, bro, Houston needs to stop sucking up to this man, James Harden, bro. This man has got you no rings, and you've given him everything you wanted. I'm about to touch back kind of on the players' point, but bro, he's gotten Chris Paul. After that, he got Dwight Howard. Bro, I know what y'all was thinking, like, Dwight Howard, oh, he was washed up with in that time when James Harden got Dwight, the game wasn't how it is today, and Dwight was still a top player in the league. So James Harden got Dwight, and that still wasn't compatible. Then after Dwight, he gets basically his best friend and Russell Westbrook, and everybody's thinking, oh, this is gonna be the duo just to upset bro. Stephen A had them to upset the Los Angeles Lakers, who just came off a championship run, bro. Like, bro, you basically got your best friend on your team, because that's the kind of how they work. That James Harden and Russell Westbrook, even though they did clash a little bit, which is sad to say after I'm about to say this fact, was the best chemistry off the court partner like James Harden's ever had. Like, Russell was had the best relationship with James Harden off the court than any other star that I named, Dwight Howard or Chris Paul. Like, you can't do that. Like, bro, that's ridiculous. And the fact that it still didn't work, and you can say whatever you want about Russell Westbrook not performing or whatever. He came off an injury, he didn't perform to the standards, and now they traded him for John Wall. So it's just player after player after player. They're just sucking up to James Harden. Like, they're just giving him whatever he wants. And that isn't speculation for me at all, saying, oh, look, James Harden asked for a player, they give him a player. Bro, Houston just said it themselves that they are giving whatever James Harden, whatever he wants, whether that is time off the court, not showing up to practices, coming to practices when he wants to. And there are players like LeBron who have brought every single team that this man, like every team, there's no team that this man has, but there's rosters, but there's no roster that LeBron hasn't taken to the finals, and there's no team that LeBron has played for that hasn't won a ring with him being the best player. Like, that's why LeBron gets the treatment that LeBron gets. James Harden, he's taken the Houston Rockets to 0 finals and won them 0 rings. Like, you're giving a guy who hasn't proven anything but, oh, he's a great scorer and all-time talent, which that in itself is a lot that James Harden has and uses well. He uses his God-given abilities and talents well. But what does that mean if it's not getting you what the whole point of basketball is, and that's playing the game to win? So when a player like James Harden, who you know has these talents and can put up these phenomenal numbers, like if you a 50-point triple-double anytime during the reg season, what is a player like that? Like, what benefit does he give you if you aren't getting wins, if you aren't getting finals appearances at the most, if you aren't getting, if y'all couldn't even sniff the Western, y'all beating 5, like people had y'all to push the Los Angeles Lakers to 7. Y'all couldn't push them past to 6. Y'all got gentlemen swept. And at some point in time, we're gonna have to be like, bro, this is not the other stars' fault. You've gotten this time you have 2. I know Boogie fell off, but this time you have DeMarcus Cousins and John Wall. Bro, the saddest part about this is that this is not even, John Wall and James Harden aren't even going to play a regular season game. And the reason because of that is because they just announced that James Harden is probably going to be traded before the beginning of next season. So, I don't know. I mean, Houston gives up James Harden. If they do, who would they trade them? Who would he trade James Harden for? Come on now. Hey man, this Reese Hoops, bro. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, bro. It's off the dome. Make sure y'all turn them post notifications on, cause y'all ain't never gonna want to miss another Reese Hoops video again. That's straight up.